All right. Coming up on practice number 9. I think the guys are working extremely hard. We guys are improving every day, building relationships and camaraderie. We got 2 guys right here trying to. You guys want to come on up and say hello? No, you good? Harrison Phillips, John Bullard. But I'll say that I think the guys are having fun. Again, creating those bonds, those relationships. That's what training camp's about. But it's also about work. I think they're working. I think they're improving. And look, it's day 9, so everybody's a little bit tired, a little weary, and that's part of it. You got to push through, and today will be a good test for that. So, looking forward to it.
Hey Brian, what have you liked about Gabriel Murphy's camp so far?
I think Gabe is, going back to, watching him at UCLA, did a lot of good things there, versatile, played a lot of positions, played outside as an edge player, played inside a little bit as a 3 technique. He's played off the ball during the course of his career. They had a good front, over there at UCLA, so the thing that kind of stands out is just his football IQ. He's very bright. It's very important to him. We were in a staff meeting the other day, and he said that Gabe Murphy despises bad football. So that's a good thing a good thought from a coach to say about a player. So he's done a real nice job. I'm excited to see him, moving forward and, in preseason games. But yeah, we got a long way to go, but he's off to a good start.
Have you learned anything more about his abilities that maybe you didn't see on tape, or is he kind of what you expected?
Yeah, I mean, you never really what you see on tape is very different than what you get when you get a guy in person. It's day to day. You learn their strengths, their weaknesses. You get to know them a little bit. You figure out what buttons to push, what buttons not to push. And as a coach, and as coaches, we try to, that's part of this learning process of each player, their strengths, their weaknesses, but also just getting to know them as people. So to speak to that, last night I met Levi Rodriguez's parents. I always think that's a good time to me to ask questions about the player that I'm probably not going to get from anybody else. So that was a great conversation. We had a good talk. I mean, we had to talk probably 10, 15 minutes. And you could see why, Levi has, made it up to this juncture. He's a hardworking kid. His parents are very supportive, and I think that's, it's a long-winded way of saying, you don't really know all about the player until you get him and learn more about him, and we're continuously trying to learn more about each player.
What have you thought of Levi on the field?
I think he's done a lot of good things. I think he's picked up the playbook quickly. I think he's full of energy. I think he's got some athletic ability, but still early. But we're trying to put him in as many situations as possible to see what roles he might fit him best. And we're really doing that for everybody. But the young guys especially, their first training camp, you don't really know, from a capacity standpoint, how much they can handle early on, and then you try to build on that. So you start with a small role and then try to build on that. That's really kind of the plan for each player.
Right. With Gabe Murphy, were you guys surprised at all that he ended up being an undrafted free agent? Seems like there was a lot of projections that he was going to be probably a day 3 pick somewhere.
That happens every year. For whatever reason, I know we liked him on tape. And we're sitting there at the end, and there's an opportunity to grab him as an undrafted free agent. And I would say to a man, we were all in favor, highly in favor of let's do what we got to do to get this done. And Kwesi and his staff were the same way, and we were able to get him here. And he's done a lot of good things. we're not crowning him by any. We're not crowning him, but he's done a lot of good things.
Coach, in the same vein, I guess, of asking about some individual players, with Dwight McLeathern, what are some things maybe that you liked that you wanted to bring him here, and then how has he done so far, just getting acclimated?
Not a lot of people call him Dwight. He goes by Nudie. So, for those who didn't know, I'm just going to put that out there. But Nudie's done a real nice job. We liked a lot of things about him as well coming out. Ball skills would be the first thing that comes to mind. He's a guy who's just got a knack and a feel for being around the ball when it's in the air. Obviously, he's got height and length and speed, but the instincts are the thing that jumped out to me and us as a staff. His familiarity with DJ was certainly a plus. Durante having coached him at LSU. So there's a lot to like about Nudie. It's important to him. He works hard. He wants to do it right. So, again, we're just going to try to build with these young players and just try to help them improve day to day.
What's the origin of the nickname?
You're going to have to ask them on that one. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. So you're gonna have to ask him next time you grab him.
Well, there's been at least a public narrative that you and the defense will look to use more man coverage this year. And I wanted to know if that's even something that's you are thinking about, and not just kind of a reaction to the way you played last year in the back end. And second, what's your process for deciding, man zone, what kind of scheme you're going to have at a given point in time?
I think that goes all the way back to postseason self-scout, things we did well, things we didn't do well, situations, third down, red zone, 2-minute, early downs, play action pass, go through all of it. You spend time, going through the film, and you come up with a plan for how you want to play the next season. I think every team does that. Well, actually, I can't speak for every team. That's how we've done it, or how I've done it in the past. And every year is different. And I think you got to reinvent yourself every year. And if you do the same thing every year, I think in this league the coaches are so good and the players are so good that they'll catch up to you. Especially if they know exactly what you're going to be in. So defensively, there's a concept or a run or a screen or some offensive concept that beats every defense. So if they know what you're in and they call it and they dial it up, they got you. So I think you want to be you want to have as many different structures, coverages as you can, just to keep the offenses guessing to a degree. But at the end of the day, I think, in those critical downs, you have to, have the ability to play man-to-man coverage, and I think we'll try to do that a little bit more this year.
What's the best piece of intel you got from Levi's parents?
I got a lot of good stories about him as a youngster, causing chaos around the neighborhood. You might want to do a piece on them. They're pretty good. They're.
Get him in trouble?
No, it's not gonna get him in trouble. Not in any more trouble than the stories I have about my kids and what they get into. So, and the things I got into. So, look. You guys know Levi. He's energetic. He's fun-loving. Apparently, he's been that way. Since birth. He's got an older sister who apparently is, a really important figure in his life. So just kind of getting to dive into some of those things are always good for me. And it was a fun conversation. But there was a lot of stories. I'll let Levi tell you, or his parents tell you those, and keep those private. But they were fun stories.
When it comes to the undrafted free agents, getting Ivan last year and then finding guys who are contributing right away, what is the process like of identifying those guys around draft season that you might have a chance to get that aren't drafted and can potentially contribute?
I think when for us as a staff, when we're looking at players who may go late or undrafted, it's about fit. This league's about fit, time, and timing. You get into the right place with the right coach, the right system that fits your skill set. It allows, an individual player to, see his potential. And sometimes, you don't get in the right place. You're in a system that doesn't fit your specific skills, and it takes a little longer to reach that potential. So I think we're looking for, in that process, along with Kwesi and Griggs and Demetrius, Chiz, and their staff, Money, and I think we're all on the same page as far as the fit. I think he's going to come here, and this is where he'd fit. This is how he'd play, and you never really know till they get there. But we always say our job is to predict and forecast, and when you put your scouting hat on, that's what it is, just to predict the forecast. And with the undrafteds, I think or the late rounders, it's what's the fit? Does he work hard? Will he do the things he needs to do to develop? Because every player in this league needs to develop. And you gotta have work ethic to develop. Because you can be super talented, and the superior talents, they cannot get better, but they normally do. But for the most part, the talent level in this league is pretty even, and it's the guys who really work hard on their the skills relative to their position, work on their craft, work on their conditioning, work on diving into the playbook. Those are the guys who develop, get better, get more reps, get more playing time, and then the light bulb goes off on the field. And once that happens, you got a good player. So, long-winded way of saying, like that's the process.
Brian, you talked last week about doing more with Josh Metellus. What more can you do with him? All the positions he played last week.
You got an hour? I think, Josh is the type of guy who wants more, who's willing to work in a way to improve in whatever we really ask him to do. So, maybe it's more man coverage. Maybe it's blitzing a little bit more. Maybe it's blitzing from a different position. Maybe we line him at the nose this year. So I think with a player like that, you can be as creative as you want to be. Just now, I went out there and I was like, hey, let's experiment with this coverage, see what it looks like, and it didn't work. So, and he was part of that. We talk it over, and we say, throw that in the trash. It was my idea, by the way. With a player like Josh, he's so hardworking. It's so important to him. There's really no limit. But at the same time, you never want to overload a player, and it's all got to fit within the system of 11 guys on the field. So it's not a one-man game. He knows that. And that's one thing about this group, so far, and it's something we, as a staff, talk about day after day after day. Is it's a team defense. It's not one guy. I tell them every day, it's not my defense it's their defense. So, and they make it go. They bring it to life, and I think if we have that, we'll along with just building those relationships and that camaraderie, I think we'll put ourselves in the best position to have some success. And even then, it's hard in this league. So,
Brian, how do you go about structuring training camp, practice schedules, kind of working within the context of modern rules and trying to keep guys fresh for a longer season while still getting the physical work that you want to get in?
Yeah, I think, I've always thought you can push. I think there's this threshold that guys think they've met, and you can push through that threshold. So, I think our guys that are trying to work in that manner to put themselves in the best possible positions from a conditioning standpoint to go out and play 60-minute ball games week after week after week. But as far as practice, as far as putting together a curriculum for installs, and this coverage is going in here, these blitzes are going in here. We try to be thoughtful as far as putting that together, and I think our staff is, between Pet and DJ, it's Ravo, Marcus Dixon, who's been a great addition. I think they've done a great job of just us working in collaboration, working together to put that curriculum together, and try to put these guys in the best positions as far as from a learning standpoint, so that they can then apply it to the field.
Does that process look quite a bit different than when you came in the league, just given different coaches, different times, different rules, all that kind of stuff?
Man, you're just going to age me right here.
Well,
no, it does.
Back in 03 probably looks different.
It does. Well, I mean, it was 2-a-days then. So a lot more practice, a lot more fundamental work, a lot more of everything. Team plays, 7-on-7 plays, red zone, 2-minute. I mean, all of it. There was just more. So more opportunity for a guy to get reps. I think you just get better by doing it over and over and over again. I think that's with anything. It is different, but everybody's working within the same rules. I talk to our guys, our staff, about being efficient with our time. So individuals got to look like this, and our group periods got to look like this, our walkthroughs have to look like this, to get as much out of it as possible. And I'm constantly trying to tweak it and say, hey, can we get 5 minutes here, or 2 minutes back here? But that's a constant work in progress. Excuse me, and we just try to do the best we can. But it is very different. All right, thank you guys.